Welcome to our new series, The 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie.
We're going to talk about your third film. We're going to save your fourth film for number 150. I know you can almost do these back to back, but I already wrote in my
I pretty
notebook.
much can.
You can. Well, let's break it. Let's give you the breakup. What is the next film that you saw?
So, we've talked about James Wan a lot on this podcast and what he's done for horror. I think he directed Saw, right, as well.
Correct. So that's kind of where I think that was his big break. That is his first hit.
Yeah, and he pretty much owns horror right now. And so, the Insidious series, I think I watched the first one last year in our trial run of this, and then I watched Insidious 2 this year. And I've been looking for where it would be free, as always. And it's always like parts of it are free, but not like in order. Does that make sense?
Correct.
And so I've been trying to like watch this series in order because you texted me the other day and you're like, oh my God, there's a sixth one. Like after I told you I had watched this one. And I was like, I don't even know that there was a fifth one. But then I didn't realize that The Last Key and The Red Door were like 4 and 5 because it went away from the numbering thing that it was doing. But I just Insidious to me is so it's a horror movie. We've talked about it. It doesn't do anything that is nothing that I haven't seen before. But it does it pretty well. I mean, Insidious is pretty much centered around jump scares. Now, jump scares are kind of controversial when it comes to horror movies because some people feel that it's a cheap way to get like a thrill, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like cheap heat, like in wrestling. But when it's done well, but there is a genre for jump scares, right? We've seen obviously Terrifier, which is just fucking body gore or whatever the fuck you want to call that. But this is just like, you know what, things are going to pop up, they're going to be scary, and it's going to be in an air, it's going to have enough lore to get you by. And I find these movies to be very digestible. And so with that being said, I've been trying to like watch them in order. I'd seen 1 and 2, and I saw 3 was free. And so I said, fuck it, I'm going to give it a whirl. And with Insidious 3, it does something that I don't really see in a lot of horror franchises, or at least I don't remember. And you can correct me with any examples you have. But like 1 and 2 had a storyline that was going, and then number 3 goes back in time. And then it tells a story from the medium, her name is Elise, that's helping the family deal with their, demon issues. And all of a sudden we see kind of like backstory on Elise and a specific case that she has and how she deals with that. And I won't go into the details of like the case or anything, but it's a case. She's a medium. She's trying to she goes into the other, which is called the further, like the other side. And she helps people with issues with that. And the story for Insidious 3 revolves around a young girl who just lost her mom. And innocently, she tries to contact her mom. But, of course, she summons demons. And, whatever. It's a perfectly fine watch. It's digestible. It doesn't ask a lot out of me. I just sit down. It's like I can kind of predict where the jump scares are. In fact, it's kind of like a fun game to see if I can predict where the jump scares are going to be, or if I can just like in the moment be like, understand that this is a movie that's trying to scare me and jump at me, which we all know how I feel about that when it comes to video games. It's a much different vibe. But with movies, I don't really get scared. With a controller in my hand, as you've seen a million times and you will see again, like that's a whole totally different story. And so I just thought, again, it was a horror movie that did what it needed to do. It was easy to fucking understand. It's easy to follow along. It had good characters in it. And then it wrapped up. And it was to me, it was an okay entry, but it's very rare for, this movie has like a sixth movie coming out. And it's spending time in 2 of those movies going back in time. Which I understand, like the side character is very interesting, and it basically gives a background to the lore of how she met her coworkers who are actually oddly enough in like a paranormal like investigation team. So that was kind of funny, and there was like a little bit of what is it called, fan service. Yeah, but it was okay. It was okay. I'm going to continue watching it, but when I watch Insidious, I know that I'm watching like a saga, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I can somewhat compare it to, and I don't think it's as good as the Insidious movies. I mean, maybe personal preference to people. Paranormal Activity. You remember the first one came out, people were blown away.
Yeah.
Second one came out, kind of the other. Third one was actually a prequel because the first two were like the sisters, both one sister, the other, and how. So there was that, and then the fourth one I kind of remember and I lost track after the. I mean, I should, same idea, but yeah, they really go way overboard and add so much more, and you're just like, oh, really? I just like what was simple, but. Yeah, no, Insidious, kind of like the Conjuring universe. We talked about this too. Like, I've not seen it. I've not watched too much horror recently. Series, like, Terrifier might be the close because I saw 1 and 2, and I know we're going to see 3 most likely next month, which we'll get to later. So I've always been intrigued, but yeah, I don't know too many like this. And once you get sucked in, though, you're kind of, even though you hear, like you meant, we're going to talk about a fourth one, spoiler in a little bit, but like the fifth and the sixth, you're like, I've kind of put in my time. I got to see where this goes, where I hear like when we 4, they are doing it. Terrifier 4 is the last. Like the director said that, yeah, he's just like, this is the end, blah, blah, blah.
I don't want to watch any more of those movies. I don't.
We'll get to 4. We'll get to 3 soon. But yeah, so I guess it's funny because I'm looking where Insidious Chapter 2 falls on your list, and I don't know where the first one would go because obviously, like you said, but the question is, how far down or maybe up? I don't know. Where does Chapter 3 compare to Chapter 2?
I didn't hate this movie because like I do like this side character, this character at least, and I thought it was kind of cool to focus on her and then focus on her employees, which are really funny too. So this is I'm gonna call this genre soft horror. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy to watch, and it's not like requiring you to use your brain really a lot. It's got a good enough lore, and you follow it along, and you're right. You're kind of already invested. Does that make that a good movie though?
Well, that's your opinion.
I mean,
you don't have to think about the rest of us, but your opinion is what matters for your list.
I mean, I enjoyed it more than the Pope's Exorcist, that's for sure. So that's the floor, right? Pope's Exorcist was just bad. I didn't like that movie at all. But I'd have to put it. I mean, I'd say I enjoyed this more than Sing.
Okay, we're getting higher.
So, but I wouldn't put it higher than that. So probably right there, Insidious Chapter 3.
So your new number 53?
53?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For now, we know.
Yeah. Things change.
I liked it. I didn't think this was bad, as we always say. It had a beginning, it had a middle, and it had an end. It set the rules at the beginning, it followed them all the way throughout the movie, and then there was a resolution. Sometimes that's all I need. Sometimes that's all I'm asking for. That's it. I'm not asking for anything more fancy than that. Sometimes. Like, yes, there are those times where I'm like, I'm going to really get into something that's going to be provocative and make me think, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, like, 98% of the time I'm going to watch something that I can shut my brain off to, so.
Okay.
It's a perfectly fine movie.